In a world where remakes, sequels, slop are a common occurrence, there are very few directors that anyone would really want to trust with their IP these days, or even something brand new to have anything coming out of Hollywood. Except for one name that does come to the top of my mind, is Christopher Nolan. Now, recently Christopher Nolan has come under fire for some of the criticisms, for some of the issues in his Odyssey film, and we kind of want to talk about that on how this amazing producer is maybe on the chance of having one of his most disastrous films besides Tenet. How does one's hubris crumble away at one's potentially legacy of greatness? Well, let's take a look into that, and we're going to start with the time period itself. First off, Christopher Nolan hasn't really dealt much in this time period for the majority of his works. If we look at Inception, the Dark Knight trilogy, Interstellar, Tenet, a lot of that centers around current day. Oppenheimer, that is current day storytelling. Now we're going to go back, 3,000 years into the past to a mythical age, whereas Nolan is really known for more of his realistic storytelling, and the Odyssey, it's more of the fantastical. It has gods and monsters that are not just spoken as a representation, but they are living, breathing part of the story. And now we're getting into a story that has them playing second fiddle or not really existing at all. I guess I shouldn't say about that monsters. The monsters will be demonstrated in some form in the film. My concern, though, is the way that Nolan is trying to present certain material into the film to us, and just kind of being a little bit of a hypocrite as he's going about it. First and foremost is the example of the music. Now, this one is not going to have the epic soundtracks, the orchestras that we're all used to having with our epics. This is going to be all based on horns, and it's going to be bringing in Tim Scott, a rapper trying to do an homage to the oral storytelling from back in the day. If you want to do that, you could just have someone read out poetry or, read out song like that. You don't need to get an actual rapper. I don't really know how much it's going to suck people into that time frame. I feel like it might throw a lot of people off just hearing someone rapping. Like, you don't really associate rap with historical epic. I'm just being honest here. That right there might be a bit off-putting, because remember, Nolan does have a bit of an issue with his sound design that we saw with Tenet, and I'm afraid that might be playing part into the Odyssey. But that's the least of my worries for this film, because then we go on to the next stage here when we look at the armor, the dress, the garb, the presentation of what these characters are going to be wearing. And we have this Batman-like suit of armor that I don't think fits at all what we're used to seeing Greeks in bronze armor with a lot of either feathers or colors on it. Now we just got something that's just black and bulky and looks like it came out of the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, to be fair, Nolan does bring up we did find this gold and black dagger, so obviously they had the ability to make this kind of dagger, so why couldn't we make this into the armor? Which is a fair argument, but you're going for historical realism here. That was the reason why you changed the orchestra music to Tim Scott rap music. So you're making this massive change in the tonal with the music, but you're not making that for the aesthetic for the armor. Okay, but I don't really think that's going to really help people get immersed into the storytelling, but maybe that's just me nitpicking. We then move on to the next criticism that a lot of people are having, and that is with Lipton Nyong'o. And I do apologize if I did not pronounce her name correctly, so I'm so sorry for that. Be more than free to correct me down in the comments below. She is going to be playing Helen of Troy, and Helen of Troy's sister. Once more, another name I cannot pronounce to save my life, so I'll just put it here for you as well. Now, from my understanding, this is supposed to be the fairest, most beautiful woman at this time in Greek mythology. Now, I don't know if you noticed, she doesn't necessarily have that white of skin. Now, the actress herself, I'm sure she's a phenomenal actress. I haven't really seen too much work that she's been in, I'll be completely honest there. But I'm not criticizing the actress herself. I'm criticizing Nolan's desire to put her into it. And we'll hold on to that one for just a moment. Then we have Elliot Page. We don't know what this particular actor's role is going to be in. A lot of people are theorizing that's going to be Achilles, and if it is Achilles, that is a massive migraine for why you're making a transgender being one of the most badass heroes in Greek mythology. Like, you have Achilles, Hercules, and then Odysseus. I guess you could also have Perseus there. So those would probably be my 4 for top Greek heroes. But really, you're turning Achilles in his death into a tranny. Like, Nolan, you can't be surprised when you have someone like Elon Musk and the rest of the people who are fans of Greek mythology coming out and saying the only reason why you're doing this is because you're wanting to get the awards. Now you have people like Variety coming out, running court blog for him, like, oh, no. Like, if you look at what happened with Troy back in 2004, that was completely different. You know, they brought in people with different skin colors. They had different ways of telling a story. The way that Nolan's doing it is absolutely fine. That's just whataboutism. Like, I completely hear you. If we're having this argument about Troy, fine, we can have that argument about Troy. But we're talking about the Odyssey here. And you're wanting to stay true to the time period and as true to the source material as you can, except for you're making these massive changes. Now, personally, I'd be more of a fan if the whole cast was more required to be more Greek looking. Like, why do you have Matt Damon in the role? As far as I'm aware, Matt Damon has more of Italian heritage, doesn't he? But sorry, let me back up there. I don't know Matt Damon's heritage that well, so I could be just speaking out of ignorance here on my part. But my point that I'm going in here is that you're wanting to make these changes, except you're wanting to hide behind the fact that you're saying that this is for authenticity. And then you have also your wife coming out there also saying like, oh yes, we like to get feedback from the studio heads. They give their notes, you know, we have a back and forth. We always want to hear what other people have to say when they have an issue, because your idea should be able to stand up against any criticisms they might have. This is Christopher Nolan. People do not give him notes, okay? He is one of the most successful filmmakers within the last 2 decades. No. People give Christopher Nolan the money, he keeps it under budget, he keeps it on schedule, and he makes a massive amount of money. You let the creative do what the creative wants. And if you try to tell him what to do, he's just going to F you off. So there's a little cover being trying to play there because of the creative decisions that Nolan has made that we don't know if it's going to pay off yet or not. And my concern is Nolan maybe thinking that he's at the top of his craft, that he knows better, and that he can shove this into his film and still do phenomenally well. Do I think that this is going to bomb? Not a chance. I think people want to see another story of our Greek heroes, of our Western culture. I think this will easily pass the 500,000 point. What we get after that is anyone's guess. We could maybe hit 1 billion, and all of our naysaying could be for nothing. Or it could just barely eke out to maybe 700 million. It's hard for me to say right now. But the reason why I'm saying that we have to be careful about Hubris here is because, remember, before George Lucas released the prequels, no one thought George Lucas could do wrong by Star Wars. Before The Phantom Menace came out, it was like, this is going to be amazing, George Lucas is the man, he made Star Wars. And then the prequel trilogy came out. I grew up with the prequel trilogy. I absolutely love it. I still have this great image of George in my mind, but I can admit there are a lot of flaws in all 3 of those films. And that gets laid at the feet of George. And that damaged his legacy. For Nolan, Tenet damaged his legacy. But you could blame that mostly on COVID. So, you know, maybe it wasn't the best environment. Maybe Nolan couldn't really focus all that well. Maybe there's some constraints. So you have at least a little leeway there. But with the Odyssey is different. We're back into a normal environment. He is full creative control. He is Christopher Nolan, the greatest producer currently going on today, at least in my opinion. So anything that is successful should be put at his feet. Anything that's not successful also has to be put at his feet. I'm just concerned that he is Icarus flying too close to the sun and will fall to the ground because he was not careful. But that's just my thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a massive concern Do you think that there are several other parts of this film that we should be concerned about? I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you did not, and don't forget to subscribe. Y'all take care now. Bye for now.